Chosen Vessels, what's the deal? It's your main man Drutube, and I'm back at you again with another video. Let's get right into it. You're a pro when it comes to doing you and being comfortable with yourself. You ignore anxiety and don't fold under pressure. When it comes to doing you, you're a pro. You don't fold under pressure, and you know how to deal with anxiety. You know how to deal with anxiety. You're comfortable with being uncomfortable. You don't allow anything to put an amount of pressure on you to where you don't push back. You don't force back. You don't press your energy back to where people are putting pressure on you. That's all it is. When people are putting pressure on you, they're pressing you. They're putting the squeeze on you. And when people are putting pressure on you, it's time for you to find it within yourself to muster up that amount of courage to where you feel fear or where you feel afraid or where you feel frightened, to where you can at least be able to give them a smile, to where you can at least be able to smile. You have to become a pro, and how you become a pro is by dealing with the pressures of anxiety. Everyone has to deal with some type of pressure. Everyone has to deal with some type of anxiety. You have to press back. People want things from you. People want you to do things. People will try to get you to give them more than they deserve. And what you have to do in that moment, this could be at work, this could be with family, this could be with a random person, this could be with people you know, people you're involved with, people you see on a day-to-day basis. You have to be a pro, and you are a pro. And by the end of this video, if you're not a pro, you'll be one. You're a pro when it comes to doing you. You're already a pro when it comes to doing you. That's the good thing. You are a pro when it comes to doing you. You do you like it's nobody's business. You do you like nobody else. And that's why people will try to put pressure on you to try to test you and change you and see if they can get you to do what it is they want. Many can't accomplish this. You are one that is going to be able to accomplish this, or you're one that already has. Or whether you're on your way or you're here to stay, you're a pro when it comes to doing you. All you have to do is make sure that you are comfortable. How you stay comfortable is looking within you for a comfortable feeling, a comfortable version of yourself. People get put under pressure. People get put into a state of fear, and people allow themselves to be in a freeze state. You can't see yourself in a freeze state. You can't put yourself in a freeze state. You have to put yourself, regardless of what kind of pressure, regardless of what type of energy you're feeling in the present moment. You have to be able to put yourself in a moment of ease, in a moment of peace, in a moment to where you're still in control of your vessel. You got to put yourself into a state where you're still in control and to where you still have power, to where you still feel powerful. Just because someone is saying something, someone's asking something of you, something wants you to do something, it doesn't mean that you have to fold under pressure. All right. If you're folding under pressure, you're too worried about being abandoned. You're too worried about someone telling you no. You're too worried about someone discarding you. You're too worried about someone telling you, hey, I'll never speak to you again. I'm not going to be your friend. You suck. You stink. I hate you. Like, that's what you're basically thinking, that the worst things are going to happen because you want to do you. You're thinking that because you feel a little anxious or a little anxiety, that it's all over for you. Anxiety just means this is something that makes you feel uncomfortable. You have to be comfortable with feeling uncomfortable. You have to be able to work through your anxiety. You have to be able to speak through your anxiety, speak up through your anxiety, stand up for yourself through your anxiety, not allow yourself to fold, not allow yourself to shrink, not allow yourself to cower in fear. You need to take that anxiety and run with it. You need to take that anxiety and move through it. You need to, even if you got to dance for a second, even if you got to stomp your feet for a second, whatever you need to do to regain control over yourself. All right. There are some people that, because of their energy and because of how uncomfortable it makes you feel, it puts you in a trance. It puts you under a spell, a self-induced spell. And maybe you've been under this spell for some time and you just haven't broken out of it. But it's time for you to break those chains, mental chains, that is. It's time for you to break those spells. It's time for you to withdraw your permission that you have given to the spell. A lot of us have given into our insecurities. A lot of us have given into our anxieties. A lot of us have given into these self-induced plagues that we've been living under for quite some time. Now it's time to remove the veil from off your face. Now it's time to remove the wetness from behind your ears when it comes to dealing with this type of fear. And that's all anxiety is. Anxiety comes from a fear, something you haven't conquered yet, something you haven't overcame yet, something you haven't been able to be confident in when it comes to yourself, something you haven't been able to see within yourself or feel better about yourself or feel good about yourself. And that's okay. But what you have to do is you have to continue to see yourself as powerful through the anxiety, through the fear. You have to see yourself as someone that's more than able, someone that's more than a conqueror. All right, but you have to keep it real with yourself, be honest with yourself so you know what to overcome within yourself and you know what to deal with when it comes to yourself. And this is why Christ said, "Know thyself." This is why above the Egyptian temples, it said, "Know thyself." You're supposed to know yourself. All right, you're supposed to know yourself. So when it comes to you, when it comes to what causes anxiety, you have to know these things. What causes me to be anxious? Is it being around people? Is it telling people no? Is it speaking up publicly? Is it standing up for myself? Is it talking to people who are bigger than me? Is it talking to people who are different from me? I'm from here, they're from there. I feel afraid. I feel scared. I feel anxious. I feel I'm not good enough. I feel I'm not better. I feel I'm all these things because of all these things, all these false perceptions, all the false evidence appearing real, all the fake things people are choosing to create in their mind because of something they feel they lack or something they feel they can't do or some part of themselves that's not awake yet because they don't see themselves being that or they don't see it within themselves. That's all it is. There are people who are moving through life who see things in themselves. They see themselves being a certain way and they're able to move through this reality a lot different than other people, all because of a thought they have about themselves, all because of an idea they have about themselves, and all because of a thought and an idea about themselves that they're holding in their mind. The person who moves a certain way through life looks at themselves a certain way in life. The person who handles certain things a certain way in life sees themselves a certain way in life. They don't see themselves not being able to handle these kinds of things. There are people who see themselves that if something happens, they automatically know what kind of person that they need to be for that moment. And all you have to do is the same thing. Everybody has fears, everybody has doubts, everybody has worries, everybody has anxieties, but the people who have courage, they move a certain way. They don't move through they don't move through this game with fear. They move through this game with courage. They move through this game with a sense of self-assuredness because even if they don't know what's going to happen after, they know what they're going to do. If they don't know what's going to take place, they know what type of person they are. They know how they see themselves, how they view themselves. They know how they're going to react, and they know how to stand up for themselves and stick up for themselves and defend themselves. All right, and it does help when you have gone through things to make you pull this out of yourself. But if you haven't experienced much life, if you haven't gone through many events that will cause you to become this, you can still find this within yourself and see yourself as someone who can handle whatever it is that life throws at them. And anxiety is something that happens when a person is worried. They have fear. They don't see themselves being able to handle something. It's your inner child being afraid and having fear of your adult self not being able to handle a situation. So what you have to do is you have to get yourself to a point in your mind to where you see yourself as someone who can handle every situation and any situation. You don't see yourself as lacking anything to be able to stand up for yourself, stick up for yourself, speak up for yourself, provide for yourself in any form or fashion or any kind of way that presents itself to you in life. You have to see yourself as the one that is more than a conqueror, that can stand up, speak up. Is false evidence appearing real? What's greater? Is your anxiety greater than you? Just because anxiety is in you, don't make it a god to you. Don't bow down to anxiety. Don't bow down to your fears. Don't bow down to the things in you that are telling you that you can't do this. You can't handle this. You're not good enough. You don't have what it takes. There's something in them that's not in you. You don't have that. You ain't that. Don't listen to that voice. Don't listen to that whatever it is that's telling you that. Disregard whatever it is that's telling you that. Don't believe whatever is telling you that. Look at yourself the way you want to see yourself. And that's really what it boils down to. All right. You're a pro when it comes to doing you. Don't let anxiety get in the way. Don't let fear get in the way. Don't let pressure make you uncomfortable. All right. You are comfortable with yourself. You ignore anxiety. You don't fold under pressure. You're going to have to ignore the anxiety. You're going to have to not fold under pressure. Folding under pressure means you allow whatever energies that are coming over you right now to overpower you and to be stronger than you. The energy that is coming from another person is not stronger than you. The anxiety that come from within you because you may not have faith or courage to deal with something is not stronger than you. You have to move through that fear. You have to find the courage and move through that fear. Whatever that fear is, you have to work towards creating and developing a opposite feeling of that. And you have to believe that you can operate in an opposite feeling of what you're currently dealing with when it comes to not having courage for certain situations. That whatever makes you afraid or however you feel fear when you're dealing with something, what you have to do in that moment is to think of the opposite. All right, whatever is causing you to not be able to do something, whatever is causing you to think you can't do something, you have to, within that split second, you have to, within that moment or ahead of time, pre-program yourself or think of an opportunity. We're going to get to that in a second. But what you have to do is within that split second, you have to have yourself pre-programmed, or you have to be able to find the opposite feeling of what is stopping you. Fear is stopping you. Courage is enabling you. So what you have to do is you have to find something that makes you feel courageous, something that can allow you to have courage within that moment. But another thing is this: what you can do is whenever you had fear, whenever you are afraid, and this is really what they need to be showing people instead of time travel. It's not time travel, it's mind travel. You can go back in time with your mind and redo events in your mind to where if you felt that you didn't handle something how you would or should have handled it, you can replay that story in your mind and see yourself handling it the way it should have been handled, and that will transform how you feel about it or experience it when the thought resurfaces in your mind and when similar instances resurface in your mind. You're going to be able to deal with that situation a lot more powerfully than you would have if you just let it lay dormant in your mind. And the last idea you have about yourself is handling it in a way that is not the way you would have wanted to handle it. So what you have to do is whatever happened, whatever made you feel afraid, whatever bad experiences that took place, go back in your mind, redo those experiences in your mind, and redo them like a movie, like the way you would want it to happen. And you'll end up redoing those enough, you'll end up doing those enough, you'll end up doing those techniques enough to where now when certain things happen, that's how you'll handle it, because you're programming your mind to deal with fear. The anxiety won't be there, confidence will be there. The reason why anxiety is there in certain instances in life is because it's something that you haven't handled, something you haven't looked at, something you haven't uncovered, something you just left alone and are leaving it up to hope, leaving it up to the wind blow for it to change, and just leaving it up for time for it to get better. Certain things get better with time, certain things get better with your mind. And in this instance, what we're speaking of in this video is going to get better with your mind. The more you use your mind, it will get better in time, because you're using your mind. You're not allowing this situation to just stay the way it was. You're not seeing yourself the way you used to be. You're not seeing yourself as being afraid. You're not seeing yourself as being a person who can't handle a situation. You're not seeing yourself as a person who has anxiety that's not allowing themselves to have courage or to move through the anxiety. It's okay to have anxiety. You have to master it. You have to conquer it. You have to allow yourself to become more powerful than it. You have to allow your energy to overflow and to overpower that anxiety. Anxiety is just energy to where a person doubts themselves. They're worried. They have fear. They're afraid. They don't know what's going to happen because they don't have that confidence. They don't have that